Why can't you have an epidural in a water birth? So let's start with the different pain relief options. Water, the warmth of it enables you to be mobile, more upright, and enables that warm water to provide that comfort and that relief from the contractions. An epidural, on the other hand, is where a needle is inserted into your back with the tube into your back. The needle comes out, and then through that tube we'll put medications in that enable you to have complete relief, usually from the bump downwards, but it can make you quite numb from the waist down. Mobility is much more reduced with an epidural. Now, there would be no benefit to delivering in the water with an epidural, and the reason for that is partly because the water is not going to provide you any pain relief. The epidural is already doing that, so there's no real benefit from that. But it's also thinking that an epidural actually changes your sense of temperature as well. So part of the reason why water births work really well is because it's nice warm water around your bump. Well, with an epidural, you're never going to feel that temperature because it alters the nerve pathways. Women can't feel different temperatures when they've got an epidural spinal on board. And it's why we test your block, so how good that epidural is working, with an ice cube from your bottom of your legs all the way up. And when you can start to feel that cold, that highlights how well that is working from an epidural perspective. And then finally, if you are less mobile from the waist down, it poses a drowning risk if you were to get in the water with an epidural. In terms of being mobile in the bed, yes, more epidurals are becoming much more mobile. However, not all units enable women to walk with an epidural, even if it is more on the mobile side where women could walk. And that's partly because of the health and safety elements of that again, because if you got out and you walked for a while and then suddenly your legs gave way, you almost need someone there to help support you at all times if you were to be more mobile. Now, this is a great review to go and read. I've also written about it for the Practicing Midwife Journal back in 2021 about optimising birth for women with epidurals. I was also part of the BUMPS randomised control trial as well when it was out in the early 2010s as a midwife. And what it looked at is women who were either upright or led down, and how often they changed their position and what the outcomes of that was with an epidural. And it really highlighted that the more mobile a woman is, the more time she changed her position, sort of every 10 to 15 minutes during that pushing stage, the less likely they were to have an instrumental birth, the more likely they were to spontaneously birth, the quicker that pushing stage was as well. The difficulty to balance that with, though, is the longer an epidural is in process, the less mobile it can become. And it tends to take about 4 or 5 hours before that mobility really wears off, and it's harder to raise those legs. It's where rebozo balls are amazing as well if your unit has got them. But it's having that awareness. So if you can straight leg raise your legs, then your mobility is normally quite good. And it's having that conversation with your midwife. Could you potentially lie on your side and maybe change sides every sort of 10 to 15 minutes in that pushing stage? If your legs feel strong enough, could you go so that you're kneeling over the back of the bed with your legs, for example, and trialing in different positions? The knees in, feet out are a really good position for pushing in as well. But it's that mobility. The more you can move in that pushing stage, the more likely you are to spontaneously labour. And so if you can do that, great. But if you're someone with a really heavy epidural block, this is just not going to be possible.